everyone. I'm Katie Daryl, and today we are at home and social with Ed Robertson of the Barenaked Ladies. Thank you for being here, Ed.
Well, thanks for having me, Katie. This is good times.
It is good to, I wish I was actually in the room with you to play those machines behind you.
Oh, it's just one of those virtual backgrounds. Who would have that many pinball machines at home?
Only a psychopath would do that.
Clearly. This started as a hobby, small collection in about 1999.
Do you have a favorite machine? Is this one of those things where you're not allowed to pick favorites because they're like children? I don't know.
It's changing constantly. Right now, I might be blocking it. Yeah, it's the Jurassic Park pinball machine by Stern, right behind my fat head.
Well, I mean, when you have an option to have a T-Rex involved with anything, I think that's where the win is.
Right. And the T-Rex, of course, eats the ball, throws it at you. It's a marvel to behold.
You know, I actually appreciate the Jurassic Park series because I think it made everyone loved the T-Rex, but we all started to learn that the Velociraptor is pretty dope.
Yeah, there's more than just the T-Rex and the Brachiosaurus that we used to call the Brontosaurus.
Okay, yes.
I actually rewatched it. I rewatched it like a couple weeks ago. Totally holds up, that movie.
It does. Well, I mean, there's poop humor in it as well, because remember in the beginning, there's a giant pile of poop.
Yeah, and Laura Dern goes up to the bicep in it.
Elbow deep in that.
Pretty good.
All right. So we are talking with Ed Robertson of the Barenaked Ladies, and there's a new album. And I was told specifically, don't try to say the album like it's French. Just say it like a honky-tonk American. Yeah. Detour de Force, right?
There you go. Detour de Force. Yeah. The people are having problems for some reason. They're saying, you have a new record. It's called Detour de Force. And I'm like, do you guys not have the word detour? What is going on here? But yes, we felt it was a great record. We felt it was a real tour de force. But like the rest of the planet, we had to take a detour while making it. So there you go, Detour de Force.
So exactly, the pandemic, it struck again. Another band that got screwed. You basically were almost done with this, and then the pandemic happened, and you had to sit and noodle on it for a while, and things changed, right?
Yeah, it was actually really good for the record. It gave us a time to listen to what we had, realize where we could push some things a lot further, and in some cases where we needed to pull things back because we had a beautiful performance of the band in the room, just the four of us playing music. Sometimes that's all a song needs. So I think the record has a great mix of the DNA of a simple live performance and then the real kind of adventurous production journey on some of the tracks. So I love it.
Is it a point now where you challenge yourself to come up with sometimes ridiculous words or phrases to work into songs? How fast can you say something? Can you create a new tongue twister? Do you have a challenge like that, or does that just come naturally?
No, definitely it's a fun way to write. The song New Disaster from the record came from Kevin Griffin saying to me, I really want to work the word prestidigitation into a song. And I was like, oh, prestidigitation, like magician's arts kind of thing. He's like, how do you know that word? I'm like, I know all the words. I'm a Scrabble guy.
All right, so we're talking about, so far there's been 3 singles off of the new album, Detour de Force by the Barenaked Ladies. New Disaster, that's the one you were just talking about. And this is kind of about the 24/7 news cycle that it was always present in the last decade, but boy, it really affected us in the last 18 months. Tell me about this song and coming to the apex of writing it.
Well, I think pre-pandemic, we were kind of getting a constant stream of crazy in the media in North America, right? Your viewers probably know what I'm talking about. And we, as your neighbors up in Canada, we're trying to make sense of it all. We got this deluge of crazy, and then it just turned to a fire hose of bad news on top of the crazy. So it was a very difficult thing to navigate, I think, mentally for a lot of people. And then you add the isolation of lockdown, the fear of the pandemic, and between anti-social media and the barrage of bad news coming from news everywhere, people, I think, had to step back and protect themselves a little bit to not be in a constant state of anxiety. So New Disaster to me was about, like, if we don't keep an eye on this, it will consume us. We need to be aware of how much we're subjecting ourselves to fear and anxiety inducing reports. And, step out if you can, take a walk outside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly. Don't watch it after 5 p.m. A lot of rules in my house.
Yeah, essentially treat the modern news cycle like fried food.
Moderation.
Give yourself some time before you go to bed. You don't want to have 2 pounds of chicken wings before you get into bed. You want to have 2 pounds of chicken wings, just not right before you get into bed.
Exactly. I'm a fun fact girl, and a fun fact that I learned about this new album by the Barenaked Ladies is there is a tie-in to Geddy Lee of Rush. Tell me this story, my friend.
Well, Geddy is a hero, a mentor, a friend, a surrogate father, an older brother.
A fellow Canadian friend.
Yeah, the guy is amazing. It's the first concert I ever saw was Rush. My high school band played 27 Rush songs. You cannot overstate my love for that band. And got to meet them a bunch over the years, got to play with them once. It was really cool. And Geddy inducted us into the Canadian Music Hall of Fame, which was super awesome of him. And when it came to pre-production on this record, we thought it'd be cool to get those bass, like foot pedal bass synthesizers called Taurus pedals. And bands like Yes used them, and like prog rock bands of the 70s used these like floor-mounted foot synthesizers. Of course, one of the most well-known purveyors of the Taurus pedals is Geddy Lee from Rush. And so we said, well, how are we going to get some Taurus pedals? It'd be cool to use them. And Jim said, should we just ask Geddy if we can borrow his? And so that's what we did. It was very cool. In a studio strewn with gear, beautiful gear. It was like, guitars here, drums there, keyboards all over the place. But right there is hallowed ground, because those are Geddy Lee's Taurus pedals.
It's like the scene out of Wayne's World where they're looking at like the guitar and a light shining on it. They're like, ah.
But apparently we were worthy.
Yeah, you were worthy. Exactly. But how does an ask like that happen? Obviously, you're buddies with the band, you know the guys, but do you make your manager do this? Is this a label request, or do you pick up the phone and go, yo, Geddy? No,
it's our crew guys, because we're pals with the Rush guys, but our crew guys are pals with the Rush crew guys. So
hold on. Does Geddy know you use these pedals?
Yes, he does. Ultimately, he has to be asked. We can't just say, hey, take Geddy's shit and give it to us.
If you're not cheating, you're not trying, Ed. Come on now. All right. There is a music video off of one of the new singles, and the artist involved works with Marvel Comics. I need to know more about this, because obviously we are all geeks for comics these days.
Yeah, I've been a comics nerd for a long, long time, particularly interesting, darker, sort of standalone graphic novels. That's like, I'm not a guy that gets every issue of Superhero X or whatever. I really like writers and illustrators like Jeff Lemire, who will do a beautiful story like Essex County. Won a bunch of awards. And one of my favorites by him is called Underwater Welder. And it's a story of a guy who works as an underwater welder. That comic has a money-back guarantee from me. You can get that. You will read it. It will break your heart and expand your mind. So it's an art form that I've appreciated for a long, long time. Mm-hmm. And to get to work with somebody that talented who brought this song to life, enhance the darkness while also showing the way towards the light. It was really exciting to watch it come together.
Did you ask any side favors of like, hey, can you draw me as a superhero with family? Like when you're done with that?
No, I didn't. I should. Can you draw me hulking out?
Yeah, exactly. Just some abs. I don't even need a 6-pack. Can you just like a 4-pack? Like I was trying at least.
I'd be happy with something more than the 1-pack that I have.
Yeah, the keg.
Yeah.
So speaking of collaborations, the band has done a lot of cool collabs in the past. I mean, Ben and Jerry's. Hello, who hasn't eaten the Barenaked Ladies ice cream? What, a million flavors?
If I had a million flavors, yes.
I mean, when someone comes to you like a Ben and Jerry's with a collaboration idea, how is that presented to you guys, and how do you guys know when it's going to be a good fit versus, I don't know, this seems risky?
Well, the first thing I did was demanded that 10 liters be sent to my house for taste testing.
Naturally.
I had to try it at all different times of day, make sure I was comfortable with where the flavor was going.
Yeah.
No, it was really cool. It was a very cool collaboration, and we were excited to do it. And we donated every penny that we made from that to literacy charity in Canada, helping adults get a handle on reading.
And learning the crazy words that are in your song, like that magician one you told us about.
Exactly. Prestidigitation. They're going to really appreciate these lyrics on a deeper level. They're going to need to read them.
Most definitely. I want to do a little bit of a word association because so many of us are fans of the Barenaked Ladies albums over the years, and some of the hit songs, I mean, truly get stuck in our head. So I want to know what gets stuck in your head. When I say, for instance, if I had $1 million, is there a particular line or a backstory that you kind of always just dings to the front of your brain when someone says that to you?
When I think of if I had $1 million, the first thing that comes to mind is audience. Like, that's the song that is almost more about the audience than it is about the band. Yeah. You know, watching people dance and sing and celebrate to that song is one of the best things about being in a band. It's completely transformed from this silly song I wrote as an 18-year-old. It's touched people in such a way that it just becomes this celebration at the end of every show. I've played that song at every live show I've ever done in 30 plus years of playing, and I never get tired of it because the joy that I see from the audience is just transformative. It's pretty awesome.
Until you remind them that there's inflation and we all need a little bit more than that, but don't worry about it. Llamas are still cheap.
Yeah, $1 million doesn't get you very far these days.
All right, when I say 1 week, what do you think of? I obviously think of your awesome skills at sliding on the hood of a Gran Torino, by the way. Really impressed. What comes to your mind?
You know, can I tell you, there's an interesting backstory to that, because what just came to my mind when you said that was Owen Wilson. We got invited to the premiere of the Wes Anderson movie Rushmore because we were told by our publicist that Owen Wilson is a huge fan of the band. So we go to the world premiere of Rushmore at the Toronto International Film Festival, very prestigious film festival. And I go to the party before the movie, and there's Owen Wilson standing alone at the bar. I don't think a lot of people knew Owen and Luke at the time, but we were huge fans of Bottle Rocket, the movie that came out before that. So when I saw him, I was like, oh my God, that's Owen Wilson. I went over there and I said, hey man, I'm Ed, thanks for inviting us. He goes, oh wow, you know, thanks for coming. And he said, describe your music to me. And I thought, well, that's an interesting question, because clearly he's a fan of the band. That's why we're here. But he wants to know what I think of Barenaked Ladies. And I said, well, you know, we really work hard on the lyrics, and the vocal harmonies are really important to us. And, you know, the live shows, a really big part of what we do. I'd say, like, we're adventurous. We're hard to categorize. He goes, oh, wow. You know, I think I'd really like that. And I said, Owen, I thought we got invited here because you were a big fan of the band. He said, oh, no, I am. I just don't know the music. While I've been doing all this press, you've got a video out where you guys are running, and then you do this major hood slide over a car. You really did that, right? And I said, well, yeah, I'm the Jackie Chan of rock and roll. I do all my own stunts. And he said, the Jackie Chan of rock and roll. That's a good handle. So that was.
So he's just been watching this music video, but not listening.
He never heard the band, but he loved the band because we ran and I did a hood slide in the video.
I got to tell you, he's probably thinking there's got to be some Barenaked Lady groupies that come along or something. He's like, give them an extra plus 10.
Yeah, I don't know. He got a bunch of dudes from the suburbs coming to watch his movie and very excited about it.
And let's go down memory lane. For those of you just tuning in, sorry, I'm Katie Daryl, and he is Ed Robertson from the band the Barenaked Ladies. We're talking about the band's new album. It's Detour de Force. There's 3 great singles that are off it right now, but you should just grab the whole damn thing and listen to all the tracks. Going down memory lane, you guys wrote the theme song for, an iconic television show here in the U.S., The Big Bang Theory. First off, congratulations. Second off, what comes to mind when I bring up that memory?
That was such an amazing experience. And I've had a lot of opportunities to write for film and television, and it can be pretty frustrating and confusing. And from the moment Bill Prady and Chuck Lorre asked me to write this theme song to when I submitted the song, it's been a total joy and a great relationship. They had us down to play the 100th
episode.
Taping of the 100th episode, and we performed for the live studio audience there. Members of the cast have come out to our shows. We came out when they did their press tour in Canada and performed. And then, the most amazing part of the whole thing was getting an email from Chuck Lorre when they were getting close to the final episode. And he said, hey, Ed, Bill and I always really loved that original acoustic demo that you sent us of the theme song. And would you consider, doing another version of that, maybe a little more melancholy? We want to find a way to use it for the end of the show. And I thought, wow, that's really cool. Excellent. Yeah. So I go into the studio and I record a kind of slightly legato, little slower version of the theme song, just acoustic guitar and vocals. And I sent it off to Chuck and Bill. And 45 minutes later, I get an email back from Chuck Lorre. He says, it's perfect. I just wrote the last scene of the show and we're going to end with your song. And it was so moving, and I bawled when I watched the final episode because it's been such an incredibly important chapter in my life, that song, and in the band's career. Like it's eclipsed any other hit. Like we've had big hits, and that song is bigger than everything. And to have such a positive association with it and with the show, it's just been nothing but great. I'm so proud of it.
You mentioned that, originally there was this acoustic demo that you sent to them. I imagine so many of your songs start out as acoustic demos.
Yeah.
Where are those stored? Where is that stuff?
I actually don't have most of them. I'm not very sentimental about stuff like that. Who keeps them all is Tyler, our drummer. If I want to hear something that, I may not even have songs that I wrote that we didn't record. I don't archive that stuff. But luckily Tyler does. So if I'm looking for something, Tyler's always my first email. Hey, remember that early demo I did of this song, and it was actually quite different? Do you have that somewhere? And he usually does.
So if the fans are doing a scavenger hunt of Bare Naked Lady items, go to Tyler's house.
Yeah, go to Tyler's eBay page.
Yeah. Oh, I am so psyched to talk to you. The new Bare Naked Ladies album is called Detour de Force. Ed, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you, Katie. Thanks for having me. It was a fun chat.
Yeah, I think we get along.
Yes, indeed.
Hey there, thanks for watching Access TV. Subscribe, follow, like, and do all the good stuff. And make sure you leave a comment below. I don't know, just let us know what your favorite Access TV show is, or who your favorite bands are, and what artists you're into, or just say hi, man. I like to be told hi. We love hearing from you. That's the point, all right? Keep it coming.